and welcome to CTO Magazine Interview Series. I'm Denise Verdicchio with SHI, and we are partnering with CTO Magazine, MIT, CDOIQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. And today, I have the pleasure of talking to Corinne Picataggi, who is the Chief Technical Officer for William & Mary. Welcome, Corinne.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so excited to talk to you today. And hope things are going well down there in Virginia and that you're enjoying the summer. I'd love for you to start us off with just telling us a little bit about yourself and your career development and maybe how you ended up being the CTO for the College of William & Mary.
Sure. So I've been at William & Mary for just over 22 years. When I think about that, it's like, I grew up there, but feel like most of my adult life has been spent as part of the tribe. And I've had progressive responsibilities since I started. I started as a Windows engineer for not even in the central IT organization, but in our advancement office. I stood up a Windows domain, the first week on the job, and have been moving us forward ever since. So the evolution there, I eventually moved to central IT as an innovation and project manager, trying to help create space for some of our technology resources to drive innovation at the university. That evolved I ended up as the director of enterprise systems. And then after a recent reorg, just before pandemic at the end of 2019, the university decided to create the chief technology officer position and coupled that, brought several of the technology teams under that position's responsibility and asked me if I would fill that role. So I love William & Mary. I love higher ed. I love collaborating with all the various people on campus and offices. A campus is like a city, from everything from public works, to housing and student services, to all of the awesome teaching and learning and innovation and research that's happening. It's just so exciting and so fulfilling to be a part of, that I haven't made it. I haven't left. There's always new challenges, and that's what intrigues me and keeps me excited about work. And I'm happy to be helping William & Mary solve some of those.
Well, congratulations on a phenomenal career so far. And I'm sure you have a lot left to contribute to William & Mary. I'm a lifer at SHI, so I understand. I've been with this company for 27 years, so I get it. And when you have a place, an environment, a home where you can continually learn and expand and contribute, yeah, you do want to stay. That makes for a great career. So I love that. So a little bit of fun before you dig into the serious questions. Tell us what you're binging right now.
Oh, well, Stranger Things, isn't everybody? I mean, or they're probably done. I'm not so bold to start at 3 a.m. when the rest of the country did, I think, or globe, whichever. But I have been diving into that, and I'm really looking forward to season 5.
Oh my goodness, me too. But no spoiler alerts on this podcast. So, but I think you have a lot of fans already just by saying that you're binging Stranger Things. All right, so let's dig in if you're okay with that. I think we'll just start it from a very simple, basic place, which is tell us what value through IT means, value delivery. We hear this phrase all of the time, value delivery through IT. What does that mean to you?
Sure. So when you Google value delivery, they talk about maximizing what you're delivering. When I relate that to the experience of my users at my institution, I think we can look at that through somewhat of a customer service lens and acknowledge that time is our most precious resource. So when your users are investing their time into your services or products, how do you optimize that ROI for them? So value delivery to me is optimizing your users' return on the investment they've made and consuming your services and products? How do they get the most from what you have to offer? Working in public higher education, my institution's mission is to support lifelong learning, generate new knowledge, and expand understanding. I have to define value relative to that mission. Technology resources must be available for all of those things: teaching, learning, research, at the time someone has an idea to use them, or we have to figure out how to enable rapid experimentation and adoption. If I begin to explore technologies when they're asked for, I'm too late, because they'll find another way to solve that problem without our partnership, and that impairs the university's ability to maximize our data assets, our technology resources. On the operations side, it's similar. I have to maximize the ROI we're getting from our technology investments to help the institution further, move further in that analytics maturity curve. So we're making optimal decisions around operations and services.
Thank you for that. You actually answered my second follow-up question as part of that answer, which was, how does an organization define value? And if I'm hearing you correctly, and I think this is really important to just kind of restate, you defined value through the lens of working for a higher ed institution. And if you just expand that thought a little, I think that the notable point there is that an organization needs to define value based on its mission. So all IT organizations will define value in the same way. And I think that's just really an important note to make, because when you do Google value delivery, it is very broad and generic, and you have to personalize that to your mission statement, as you just kind of filled us in how you do it there. So that was great. All right, I'm gonna keep going. Sure. So we're in a heavily digitally disrupted market, and it is a tight race to deliver more business value in less time with better user experience and better quality. I'm sure higher ed feels an even increased pressure because of the age range of the student population pushing that limit ever so much, right? Do you think that this impacts an organization, how you deliver value from IT in an organization, specifically in your organization? And if so, how? What are the pitfalls of that?
Right. So it definitely challenges us to keep up. I think it's fair to say it impacts our value delivery. But I'm finding, so we're in this interesting time right now where our users now have more experience with technology than they've ever had before. Many of our functional offices, when I look at our operational partners on the administrative side of the institution, they've been through a big system implementation. So they get it a little more than they did even 5 years ago. And certainly, farther back than that. And so I think there's a different level of acceptance. And I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but sometimes done is better than perfect. We're experiencing that all the time. During pandemic, I started using a term, accelerated modernization, as a way to describe technology deployments related to our huge pivot with online teaching and learning and operating. It forced us to release tools, processes with less testing and a lower degree of confidence than we had ever done before. We used to strive for perfection when we released products to our services. And I have to quote our president, Catherine Rowe, because she's made a statement that I think is phenomenal and kind of leaned into this during pandemic, is we're not perfect, we're awesome. And that's a difference. And when you're in this tight race for technology, you have to understand where those lines are. If you wait for perfection, you're never going to get there, and your users are going to be dissatisfied because your output isn't great enough. So understanding where that community is comfortable, like with their acceptance of a little bit less than perfection, but still helping us move forward, is so important for an institution, certainly important for us. Overall, I think our delivery value increased as we were starting to think differently a little bit there, because in a time when it was so uncertain and some people weren't able to fulfill that mission that I talked about a minute ago, we persisted, and it was awesome. And so I think having a perspective, getting this back to more general perspective, when you're thinking about the tight race and the pressures and how do you deliver more, I think you have to understand your community, your users, and know where you can find some compromises and maybe relax to allow the throughput to be greater, recognizing that you might have to solve some extra problems or challenges, but have the confidence that you can.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Do you think that mindset, that shift is going to continue on post-pandemic, or like, is that just like the new way, the new norm for your IT organization now?
I think so.
Go back?
I don't think we'll go back. I don't think anybody wants to go back. I think our users were so excited at what we were able to deliver. They kind of expect us to move that quickly now. And I think that it was a great example of we can do it together. So even before pandemic, let's get COVID out of the way. My favorite thing to do is process redesign. Actually, it's not implement big technology solutions. It's sit down, listen to users, be in front of a whiteboard, and ask a ton of questions about how we could make something better, or what's causing them grief, struggle, making them feel like they're bottlenecked. And doing that, it's like we're all in a different place now that we can grow, move faster. There was a time when I was like, trust me, we can do this. But now that trust persists, but they trust themselves more than they did before because they made it through and they were successful. And so I think that's really encouraging for our future.
All right. Well, I'm going to say thank you so much, Corinne, for taking time to speak with us today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. And for all of those out there listening, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it too.